All right, guys, I do understand that a lot of people are hesitant in taking a step further into doing business in Africa or in Congo or wherever they feel in the motherland, right? Due to numerous reasons that most of us can agree with. Yes, there are rooms for improvements. A lot of African countries they have to change the way they do things so that it makes diaspora more comfortable coming back to invest without fear of either losing their money or whatever the case may be. But also understand, I don't know how long some of you have been outside of the country, but things have changed dramatically. I can tell you from my own personal experience that as of 13 years ago, things were not the same the way it is now in Congo, especially in land. And when it comes down to land acquisitions, more specifically in the same area where I own my farm. If you guys remember, in one of my past videos, I've shared with you the reason why I believe the reason why a lot of people have fell victim of scammers is because they didn't do their own due diligence. Because when you are planning on acquiring a piece of land in a new neighborhood that's being created by the government, you have to make sure that that entire lot it is registered. So a lot of people have fallen victim because they purchased land that weren't registered, and then that led up to their getting their lands taken away from them. Because technically, you can't blame the government for it. Blame yourself because knowing the way some African countries operate, and the people who are in the public sector, they don't really get paid enough money to get by. So they look for people who are less knowledgeable on certain area. So they prey upon those people. And then for them it's a feast. But for you it's a loss. So those are the things that we all need to keep in mind. But is it more so or a really tangible justification as to why you are still hesitant to invest in land back in Congo or in Africa in general? I think if that's your thought process or at least your reasoning, let me tell you today, you're making a huge mistake. Remember, land price continue to increase year after year. I've shared with you guys that I have purchased two residential properties so far in Kinkole, right? Back in 2020, the piece of land that cost me 14-ish, maybe 16,000, it's not going for the same price anymore. After 40 years, 4 years later, I've asked people out of curiosity, without even because I got two of them. One, as we speak, I am building a property in it because I already said that the next time I'm flying to Congo to manage my farming or whatever, I'm not gonna be staying at somebody else's place anymore because the cost is just ridiculously high. And it's more beneficial to the owner, but not to me. I'm renting out from them. On the top of what I already have set as my budget, I also have to spend money on rent, food, and all of that. But if I can spend my own money straight out of my pockets to build something that is presentable, at least to accommodate myself while I'm in Kinshasa, that is a win-win. So the money that I would have spent, right, on rent, that money could be rerouted into the farm because I got so many things that I want to do on my farm that I can't afford to lose that money just like that. Okay? So guys, let me tell you this. If the longer you wait, the more difficult it will be for you to acquire a piece of land. Because by the time you are ready to purchase, it will become a struggle. Because it will be more people in that area, more constructions happening, thus increasing further and further the price of the land. Now you're gonna look to go even way further down to purchase. And chances are those areas will probably not still be registered because the government, the way they're organized, they go along the flow depending on how people are interested in certain area, right? If they feel like, oh snap, this area it's already populated, so now we think we need to extend this area that is not register to allow more people to purchase lands here so that the lands continue to grow and become more prosperous, right? That is how the government do things. You understand what I'm saying? Especially in the Congo where the plan is really not unclear as far as what the government plan is because government himself doesn't really have that kind of money to start a building or attracting people to come. It feels like you work the all like the backward in Congo. Like when people are more interested, that's when they open a new city and people start going in there, purchasing land and building properties and stuff. All right. So because I focus on farming, guys, let me tell you something. Even this house that I'm building on my farm, it is it's first of all it's giving me pleasure that I'm doing it. And second of all, I really hope that this is gonna help you, at least motivate you to get your land, to go get your lands too. Because keep in mind, there are so many projects that is gonna take place within 2024 onto the farm, right? And this is just the beginning of it. Because I am so determined to bring the activities back on the farm. I've already said to myself, I'm going to build a house and a brick house. That's not going to be a temporary one, but that's going to be something, right? That people will stay in it and they will feel secure, they will feel safe, and even myself, when I'm visiting in Congo and I go on a farm and I'm just, watching over how things are getting done, and I feel like snap, I don't really want to go back in the city like that. I can spend the night here. So I have a place. But this is not going to be the end of it. This is not it. I have 15 acres so far. This side of the land that you guys are looking at, it's pretty much what I have been able to accomplish so far. But now there's always conversations happening behind closed doors between me and my team to get a tractor up in there and like clear the land. But that's also a subject that I will want to address with you moving forward because a lot of mistakes have been made as far as land clearing. I got the tractor that cleared the land, but then it never really solved the problem. What we will plant, and then the leaves or the weeds start growing back up, right? But that's only because I didn't use the actual machinery that that was needed to do the job. And the person who was helped me didn't understand what I was trying to, communicate with him. Or at least probably he advised me to do what he thought was best for me. But then years later, I'm like, this is not exactly what I want because keep in mind, when the grass keep growing, you have to pay people to keep cutting them down. But that's not what I want though. I've already made it clear that I didn't want to grow crops on this farm for profits. Anything that's going to be grown on the farm, it'll be either to feed the animal or maybe people living on the farm so they can have something to eat if they really feel like it, okay? But leaving doors wide open to plant more trees, and that's going to make it just possible. So when we have a little bit of the landscape happening here on the farm, so you can look on one side of the farm, there's a garden, and then you look on the other side, just make this as green as possible. That's my ambition. But as far as building multiple structures and accommodation infrastructures, whether it is for animals or people, I need a different sort of tractor. The name is really escaping my mind. So now we're already in a mission to doing just that. And my team are working alongside me to find one. One of them had already actually told me that they have found one, but they were still negotiating with the people because they're a little far away from there. Okay, but even if that doesn't end up being the case, while we're waiting to find a tractor to clear this whole land so I can build multiple structures, guys, keep in mind this one bedroom apartment. It was more of like an emergency type of construction activity that I had launched personally because I'm about to resume the pig farming, right? And I needed a place, I needed to build a house so that people have a place to stay, right? And moving forward, I'm going to be building now a 2-bedroom house, very well equipped, where me and my team alongside other people, whether it is visitors, they want to come on the farm and see how things are getting done, maybe learn from one another, they could peacefully stay there while we do things, right? While we're trying to figure things out. But guys, let me tell you something. When you are working on creating your dream, never, like ever, open your ears to people who don't share the same mindset as you. Because what those people are pretty much going to do is to destroy your dreams by scaring you away, by telling you all of the negative things to make you, basically to discourage you. Understand that your destiny is in your own hands and also God determines it because I'm a Christian, right? But you should never let anybody tell you what to do when you are 100% convinced that whatever it is that you're planning to do is going to work out. And that has always been my motto and the way of doing things. If I'm 100% certain that something that I am about to do is going to work out, I'm going to stick to it. Don't get me wrong. I've started building back in 2022. So this is my second year officially since I started building on the farm. First it was the pig barn. Now I built a temporary house which was pretty much looted after all of this nonsense conflict took place. Now I'm at a much better place because I'm building a brick structure place that I can be proud of, that I know when I'm in Congo I can peacefully and comfortably spend the night there. And also, I've mentioned in one of my previous videos that now that we have multiple constructions that's going to take place, multiple projects that's going to happen, my team, when they go into the farm, we don't have to pay somebody else's money so they have a place to stay and then wake up the next morning and come back on the farm and do more work. But now they can just peacefully spend the night there. That's, for me, it's a cut on transportation funds, right? And that's more money back into my pockets. Imagine if I didn't have to spend as much money on transportation as I did, how much of that money could have been used to purchase more materials and build more things within the farm. It's not that I'm complaining, but I'm just giving you these scenarios just in the event you are planning on doing something or something similar and you're not sure whether you should spend more money, invest that money into building a house, or you just want to build like a more of like a temporary structure, just like I did. Let me tell you right off the grip, you're going to regret it. I will rather you go big or go home. You understand what I'm saying? Just go ahead, build you something nice, something that you know it's going to be there forever, and worry about all the other things later. You understand what I'm saying? So you guys, listen, we all have a duty as Congolese living in the diaspora to do, to do things that's going to impact the next generation. Because don't get me wrong, a lot of the kids that in my neighborhood where I grew up, if you ask them similar questions like, all right, what do you want to do when you grow up? It's like, oh, when I graduate high school, I want to go to Europe for my education. I want to go to this place, or I want to get out of the country because our government is working now, blah, 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 blah. Listen, man, some of it is true. But sometimes when I sit there, I'm like, in front of all of these opportunities we have, why is it that people or even this next generation are still continuing to look at the West as a solution to our problems? But in my opinion, that's never a solution. That's actually contributing to the problem. If we can invest back home and educate as many young Congolese as possible that, listen, you can make it here as long as you do things right. Because you can also empower them and give them the tools that they need so that tomorrow they can also determine their own destiny. It doesn't always have to be getting on an airplane and fly all over to Europe, all the way to Europe or America, to only finding out later down the road that, oh man, it's probably what I thought it would be. Isn't that what most of us living in the diaspora have been saying for years now? That the West is really not what we thought it would be? Exactly. And that's even one of the reasons why I decided that I wanted to invest back in the Congo. Not only that I'm investing there, building a farm, and building this house, and I'm gonna soon I'm starting my poultry farming projects. Eventually move there, manage things from over there, and also let people know that you can also make it back in Congo, doing your business formally and taking it more seriously. It's possible, dog.